He actually did it. I just tried to satirize him by pointing out his heinous crime. Yo! So it's come to my attention that 50% of the people who find their way to my video are not subscribed, so please do me a favor, support the channel, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, subscribe. The Dangerous Rise of Andrew Tate. Is this worth watching?
Wonder why some people who you've never heard of before, all of a sudden, appear everywhere.
He just paid a bunch of people to post his videos everywhere. He just shat it out. That's it. Just to inundate every algorithm possible with dumb shit he says.
What's up, bitch?
On December 29th, he and his brother were arrested by Romanian police as part of a rape and human trafficking investigation.
The Matrix has attacked me.
No, you've been trafficking people. Don't get me wrong, I do think that there's something bad about him creating content, but you're not going to get arrested by major geopolitical entities on the basis of making dog shit misogynist content. That's not gonna fucking get you buried by federal agencies. That's not it. That's what's so funny about Tate, is like he has to make him out, he makes himself out to be this like pariah, you know, like a sort of martyr. But the reality is that Tate is a literal defender of the status quo, an ardent defender at that. Everything that he espouses is to the benefit of the existing status quo insofar that it is all about your value is your net worth. That's all people will ever care about you, so you must necessarily work hard and create and procure as much capital as possible to be seen as valuable. So you will get people in this kind of like grind imperative. That's like kind of what every major capitalistic government implores their people to do to begin with. That's it. In no universe is this guy being persecuted on the basis of his ideology. He's probably getting persecuted on the basis of committing crimes related to human trafficking. That's the thing, is like when you know you're committing a crime, it's a great way of validating it, right? Because then if he gets arrested for the crimes he knows he's committing, essentially hit him with an "I told you it would happen." See, they really are afraid.
We shouldn't be slaves, we shouldn't be working 9-to-5 jobs.
I need to grow, I need to get better, I need to evolve.
What, wait. This is what's so funny, is like everyone's trying to become an employer and they don't realize why that doesn't work. We're not gonna be slaves, we don't need to work 9-to-5s. It's like, but then they find a way to bend it into this like proto-capitalist, like fascist rhetoric, right? That's why the best single sentence perspective on the average American's relationship to this proto-capitalist framework is that none of them are systemically impoverished. They are just temporarily embarrassed billionaires, I believe is the verbiage I read. But it is to me exactly what it is they attempt to, you know, instill in you. Right, is that you are just one big break away from having all your money and you want to keep it when you have it. Then you have these people who don't realize that, like, at the core of it all, not everyone can be the owner of a company or the manager. I mean, everyone could be the owner. Not everyone can be the quote-unquote, like, managerial or, like, you know, presidential power there. Someone has to work. It, to me, is the single greatest argument for, if nothing else, relatively equal wages for all people, is that even if the world were this perfect meritocracy, right? But let's say that it's not just it's a perfect meritocracy and that everyone has the same access to the same resources, so on and so forth. But let's say that everyone is like raised perfectly, you know, just a ridiculous hypothetical here. And everyone ascends to the same degree of accreditation and ability. How then are we still gonna justify not paying people a living wage? Because now it's becoming just a matter of chance, you know? It's not a matter of deservedness or labor or effort. Even if everyone goes through all the same tried and true methods of procuring a sort of deservedness for themselves, how then are we going to deprive people of it? They've already made education essentially a pay-to-win system. You can't penetrate a lot of educational frameworks in the United States without wealth. They're so close to getting it. We're not supposed to be slaves. It's like, but then they all see like, I should be the owner and I should enslave other people, but then I'm also going to say we're not meant to be. It's like, do you not realize how your privilege is predicated on other people's enslavement in this system? Like, how do they not get it? You know? It's right there. It's so obvious. It's so clearly delineated.
My ex-boyfriend was radicalized by Andrew Tate. He was sweet and I guess vulnerable to being brainwashed by Andrew Tate and his cult.
You know what I hate is how much power this lends him when his rhetoric is like so uncompelling. It's like he found a way to game an algorithm really well and say next to nothing. It's just this classic nationalistic insofar as like the spirit. But it's so weird to be like, he started this cult when, like, to me, there's something that's just so fundamentally uncompelling and ineffective about what he's doing. And so I almost don't even want to like validate it, you know?
I don't know what he's done.
But he's clearly effective.
He has said that rape victims should, quote, bear responsibility for being raped.
What about the rape accusation?
That's not true at all.
Tate has like been on record saying that sex is boring to him. You know, it's like he's clearly distilled the whole concept of interpersonal relationships down to conquest and transactional, like, acquisition, right? It's like, what does he gain from it? Either monetarily or by way of status, so he can transmute it into monetary gain. But then he also says having money doesn't mean anything. But then he lives his entire life around selling people and the concept of having money being everything. It's just non-stop, inconsistent messaging to cover all of his bases, but also find a way to instill in people, one, a fundamental insecurity, and two, a very clear trajectory towards amending that insecurity by buying his class and then procuring unimaginable wealth for themselves. It's all so bizarre.
Hi, by the way, sorry to interrupt. I'm Matt.
Georgia.
Georgia, good to meet you. What are you up to, Georgia? Working. Okay.
The woman I'm trying to speak to, Georgiana Noghel, would also later be arrested with Tate in December.
Ah, this is the person that he actively described as being his very literal bottom bitch, as he explained how he would disingenuously present to and then ensnare women into his life-altering scheme, right? Where, like, again, mind you, when you have pornography of yourself screen-recorded and plastered over the internet, it does have implications on your life thereafter, which is something to consider here.
Human trafficking operation.
I run Hustlers University, which is now currently the biggest online educational platform in the world.
What? No shot.
Crypto trading to drop shipping.
So he just, like, essentially made an amalgam of all the existing, like, scam-adjacent ways of making money from home. Like, that's it. Like, nothing that he himself has done in any capacity. You know, he used to just sell, like, comprehensive overviews of how to create your own campsite, and that's what he sold. Back when I looked into on this dude like over a year ago, that was the entirety of his website. Hustlers University hadn't even taken root yet, and it was just him essentially regurgitating exactly how it is he would exploit all of his female friends into working for him while paying someone to design a website and then taking all of the earnings. It's fucking captivating.
The number one problem with the world is that not enough men walk around their houses with swords.
That's up there for sure.
Because if more men walked around their houses with swords, so many of the world's issues could be fixed. Okay. For example, so the woman panics, she sees something on TV, the man comes.
You pick up your sword and you point it at it and you say, don't make so much fucking noise. You know you're not supposed to be here. And you know what happens if they hear you.
Home, she's like, oh, we gotta start wearing a mask. Da, da, da. If the man walked around with a sword, and she's like, put a mask on, he'd be like, I'm a commander. Fuck you. It's just a symbol of empowerment. You got your sword, your wife starts talking, you're like, shut up. I decide what I do.
Oh, he actually did it. I just tried to satirize him by pointing out his heinous crime. That's awful.
Shamed, misogynistic, and violent views so far seem to match.
He actually made that video.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen the clown that hides from gay people?
Got him!
Have you seen him?
No, I haven't seen the clown that hides the gay people.
So you've never seen him?
No. Is he here somewhere?
Strange. Well, yeah, he's right here. I see him.
I see him. I've warned my brother that this is a setup, and this is what everyone.
I don't.
Andrew does not care. He just wants people to talk about him. I've never seen this degree of narcissism. That, or it's just him recognizing that for him, when you sell, like, explicitly a prejudicial ideology, right? Like, it's built around a sort of contempt for women in a way that is, or at least a reduction of women to the concept of not even, like, their reproductive capacity, but, like, just the vagina. Like, that's the whole thing.
We have to do our normal broadcast.
Okay.
God, I'd hate to be in that fucking room, man.
Bro, this is gonna be the worst documentary about us.
What they gonna say? He has lots of cars and money.
His brother's the only one who's like, can we not fuck this up? His brother's, like, aware of just how tenuous this could be.
Oh no, please don't put that on the internet. Who cares? Right?
You curate an echo chamber of women who are financially dependent on you. It's a great way of altering your sample. It's just a selection bias.